Hi there, everyone. Jeff Hicks. I support our government agencies in the city of New York, and today I'll be talking about channel meetings. By now, you're probably familiar with our standard Microsoft Teams meetings, those meetings that you can schedule through your Outlook calendar and or through your Teams app calendar. But let's take a look at channel meetings, what they are, and why you would want to use them. So I'm going to take you into my demo environment and take a closer look. So why would we want to use a channel meeting? Well, it really comes down to the construct of a team, really. If a team is meant to help our team, our project, our initiative stay organized, where we have our conversations neatly organized, where we have information, content, files, all in one place that our team can easily get access to, including applications that we might have integrated into these channels. Likewise, we want to make sure that we have an option to bring our team's experience into the channel area so that all the artifacts that are a part of that meeting event are neatly housed in their respective channels. So it's not really about the experience of the meeting, it's more about where that meeting lives and where you can find it before and after the meeting event. So let's take a closer look. And for those who are just joining, might be unfamiliar with some of the terms I'm using here, this is your team at the high level. And when I talk about a channel meeting, I'm talking about these guys right here, where you can attach a meeting inside each of these channels. Now, for a regular meeting where I've scheduled it through my Outlook calendar, before and after that meeting, the place that I would go to get the artifacts, the chat history, and whatnot, I would come into my chat area. So in chat, this is where all our standard meeting information lives. I can use the filter button here at the top to filter out all of my one-on-one and multi-party chats and say, just show me all my meetings that are showing up here. So this is where I can get to all the chat history, the files, the meeting notes, and everything else. But for a channel meeting, it actually lives within the channel. So I'm going to show you a few ways that you can create these channel meetings and how you might use them. I'm going to start in our Teams calendar and show you how you might create a new channel meeting from this interface. So I'm going to come over here to my new meeting button, and I'll give it a title, staff meeting. And right here is the first distinction between a channel meeting and a standard Teams meeting. I don't technically need to invite anybody to this meeting. This meeting, if I create it right now in a channel, is open to anybody who's a member of that team. So no matter which channel I decide to pin this to, anyone in the team can join this meeting. So I can leave this blank. However, in most cases, you're going to want some people to definitely show up to this event. So the people that I want to make sure attend this event and they don't miss it are the ones that I'm going to add to my required attendee list. So if I want my colleague Jeff Hay to be there as a required attendee or an optional, I can use these here. Then he's going to get a calendar invitation and it's going to show up on his Outlook calendar and his Teams calendar. So it's at least in his face that he has an event I want him to join. But everyone else for the team can join at their leisure if they choose. The next distinction I'm going to call out is this option here called Add Channel. When I click inside the Add Channel, it will show me all of my teams. And if I expand the team, it will show me all the channels that belong to that team. And this is how I attach it to my various channels. So I'm going to start here. Let's just create one in the communications channel. And it's our staff meeting for communications. And let's send that out. Now, as the meeting organizer, it will show up on my calendar and it will show up on Jeff Hayes' calendar. Nobody else's calendar will have this event registered. Let's come back into the team view and let's do the exact same thing just through a different pathway. So I'm in my communications channel. I can see that event that I just scheduled is pinned right here in my chat, my group chat. So I have the details about it. Anybody can see it. Let me go ahead and create another channel meeting in the event safety channel. So here I'm going to come right up here to the top right-hand corner and direct your attention here. So there is a meet icon. This is always an indication that you can meet if you see this icon pop up throughout Teams. And there's two ways to have a channel meeting. I can do a meet now, or I can schedule a meeting. So the way I just did it in the calendar view is the second option. So let me choose that. And everything is identical. The only thing that's different is that it saved me one extra step. I didn't have to put this channel information in myself. It automatically picked it up. So let me do another meeting here. Stand up meeting.
Yeah, when you type that up,
yeah.
There's one good question here. When you add a person, does it automatically add them to the channel if they are not participants in the channel?
No. You would only put people who are, you can technically put external people in. They'll have very limited access. They can't view the chat, but they could participate in a video or audio call. But it's really meant for people who are already team members. So you don't really assign people to channels in your team. You have team membership, and your channel meetings are a way to include people within that scope who already have team membership. Hopefully that answered that question.
Thank you.
So there's our second meeting that we just sent out. Now, like Nash had shown you earlier, now that I have this event scheduled on my channel, I can come in and do all that pre-meeting life cycle exercise. So if I'm someone who can't join this meeting, I might want to put a note in here, can't make this one, please decide on the communications lead. And maybe I'll add some agenda items. Talk about 1, 2. So maybe I just want to throw my hat in the ring around what things I want people to talk about. I can put all that in the chat here so it's ready for the meeting. If I want to add a file in here, I believe I have a file in one of my team areas. Here's a public safety plan. I want to make sure they review this. So I'll share that link. So me, as someone who's not even going to participate in the meeting, I can sort of put my 2 cents in here so people can be aware of it. So let's go ahead and jump into this meeting. And I'm going to have my colleague on another computer join this call. So give me 1 second while I load him up here. Event safety. And he's going to open the meeting and join. And you'll see when he joined, immediately the interface changed. So now I get this nice indicator that the meeting is happening right now. The header changed. I got a little icon here with a camera. And now I have a running total of how long this meeting has been in progress. And I can see who's actually in the meeting, who has joined it. So I have some awareness without even having to join this meeting to know that it's actually active, who's in it, and so forth. I also got this nice little indicator. This is super helpful as I'm navigating around my team space, that this icon will tell me, hey, there's an active meeting going on in this channel. And I might find it as an opportune time to jump in and check in on something with someone who's participating in that meeting. So I'm going to join this meeting. And I'm not going to go through the features of the meeting itself, since it's going to be common, but I do want to start this call and record it. And when I open up the chat bar, you'll see I have, again, that sort of pre-meeting information. I have a colleague here who wants information about a communications lead. I have a public safety document that we're ready to review. One thing that we often do at Microsoft is we can't make every meeting that pops up on our calendar. So our colleagues who are so much better at this than I am, they will make sure that they drop in this chat really important information. Just got confirmation that Jeff Hay is the comms lead this month. So that way, if I'm unable to join the meeting, I can at least check in on the chat and get the information I want. I'm not left out. So there's our chat. There's our recording. Let me go ahead and stop the recording. And I'm going to come out of this meeting. Now I'm in a browser. So when I come out of this meeting, it parks the meeting up in this area. If I were on my desktop app and I had the new meeting experience set up, then I could have a separate pop-out meetings window so that I could pop around to different windows. But since I'm in my browser, it just parks it up in this area so I can continue working. So the meeting's still going on. I'm still actually in the meeting. And the next thing I want to take you through is another pathway to create these meetings. So while this one's going, I'm going to come into Parks and Legal, and I'm going to use this other option, the Meet Now. So when I click Meet Now, you'll notice what it did with the current meeting I was on. It actually put it in this sort of holding area up here. So now I have a meeting that I joined. I did a Meet Now, and it put me on hold on the other meeting. Now for Jeff Hay, who is my other colleague on that meeting now, the other meeting, he'll see my profile picture, and underneath it, it will say on hold. So he knows that this person, Karen, is not actively participating in that meeting, and I'm on hold. So now I'm participating in a secondary meeting. And from here, of course, since I just did an individual Meet Now, I could come in here and ask other people to join. You know, Jeff is on that other call, so maybe I'll just ask him to join this one real quick because we have something important to talk here. So I'll send Jeff a notification. He'll get a little pop-up that says, hey, Karen wants to bring you into a call. Do you accept or reject it? And in this case, he's going to accept it, and he's going to be on hold on the other call, and he's going to come into this call with me. So now we're both in this call together, and we can just kind of keep doing this exercise as needed. So now I have 2 meetings in progress that I can see by these indicators right here. And let's say, you know, some other colleagues are building out some meetings. I'm going to create another meeting in another channel and just kind of keep your eye on the channels there. And we'll come over to this one here and do a Meet Now. And I'll do just one more Meet Now. So you should little by little start to see items popping up that indicate more meetings are happening in this team. So I have 4 meetings happening concurrently, and I can come in and bounce around to different ones. Join this meeting, and for each one I join, it will put the other 2 on hold so I can join the next one. So I have 4. Which one did I not join? Event safety. I was already on that one. Which one did I not join? Oh, volunteers. And this was, you know, in a sense, a precursor to the breakout rooms. Before we had the breakout rooms features, this could be one alternative to have that experience of having multiple rooms active that I could, you know, go on hold, rejoin and whatnot at leisure. So I'm in this call. When I want to come back into one of these others, let's say for permits and legal, I'll hit the plus sign or the play symbol here and just resume that call, and it'll put my current call on hold. So I can just move around to the different calls. Now, some scenarios where this might be useful emergency management situations where you need to be on multiple calls, you can, spin up a, global call for the agency that you're representing your department, and then you have your department level call happening at the same time, and you can sort of bounce in and out of each one to kind of keep people apprised of what's happening, downstream and upstream. Another example I've seen this used for is hackathons. So if you take your team, if you're an IT shop, and I consider the team as the hackathon event, I can create channels for each of my development teams and then run some meetings in there that I could just pop in and out and check in on progress if I'm a hackathon coach. So just another option if useful. So let me close out some of these calls.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
Question is, are you able to see the chat in the paused meeting conversations?
Yeah, you can keep tabs of the chat. So let's come into one of these meetings. And I'll join the second one. So my volunteer call is on hold. And let's just put the volunteer channel up. So I'm actually in, which one did I join? Did I join permits and legal? Which one did I join? All right, so I'm on hold for my volunteer and I'm in the permits and legal. So if I come out of this, I have my 2 calls listed up here. And if volunteers is happening right down below, and I'm going to come over to my other meeting, Karen, and just send a note here to indicate that we're having a chat. Good info. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but this little volunteers channel lit up. So it turned bold because something happened in that channel, and it got this red icon because someone referenced me in that channel. So if I'm on this permits and legal call right now, and I'm paying attention to that, I can click over to the volunteers channel and see that there's some chat happening right here. And I can sort of multitask. Great. Ask them about Bob. And so, the chat just remains active. So yeah, that's one way you could use it, is actually participate in one meeting and then follow along via chat in the others. So let me close out these calls and just do a little reset here. Give me 1 second. I just want to close out some of these calls. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you is that Meet Now used in a slightly different way. So let's come into one of these channels that has some actual conversations happening. I'm going to close out that call as well. Leave that. Okay, so all my meetings are shut down. Now there's a conversation happening up here around shift coordination, and I see Ty and Krista and Greg are having a conversation with Greg. Now I get to do a Meet Now taking this approach. This is a great conversation. I want us to jump on a call ASAP and to talk about this shift coordination thread that's happening. So if I hit this reply button right here, it opens up my message, right? So instead of typing a message, I'm actually going to choose this Meet Now icon, right? So now by doing the Meet Now from the reply, it actually attaches this meeting event to this existing threaded conversation. What's nice about that is we'll do the Meet Now. Now, you'll notice over here on the right, the people who were a part of that conversation are listed here. So I can say, oh, these are the folks who are in that thread. I can start inviting them into this meeting and say, oh, you were on this thread. Why don't you come in and clarify some of your comments or whatnot? So it kind of gives me a little bit of an indicator of who might be the right people to come in and talk about this thread. And it also will bring in the actual thread itself. So I don't need to be flipping back and forth between windows. I can just see that entire chat history right here in this area. So that's a nice way to use the Meet Now to sort of get into the guts of a conversation. The next thing I want to point out, and coming down the home stretch here, private channels. So right here, I have a channel here called Executive Reports that has the padlock, and that's my private channel. One thing to be aware of is that unlike these other channels, these open channels for the team, I have two options under Meet Now, the Meet Now and the schedule. In a private channel, I just have the one, just the Meet Now. I can't schedule a channel meeting in a private channel. The same restriction applies if I come through the calendar. If you recall the name of that channel, it's Executive Reports. If I try to schedule a channel meeting, I don't see Executive Reports as an option. So just be aware that I can't schedule it to a private channel, but I can go into the private channel and do a Meet Now and then invite people to it if that's helpful. Now, with that being said, I'm going to pop back over to my slides real quick and just talk about what's coming, kind of looking ahead in terms of roadmap. So if I look inside my channel with my tabs and my files and how I can bring in other Office 365 apps through the Add Tab plus sign, we're going to have the ability to bring in a new app called a Channel Calendar app. So you'll click on that plus sign, find the Channel Calendar app, bring it into your team channel, and it will sort of put all of your channel meetings into a nice calendar view. So this doesn't replace a team calendar or a group calendar. It's strictly a calendar for that channel. So you could put one on each of your channels, and it's really just a means of keeping them organized, because as you can see, as they fill up on the post thread, you know, they're sort of scattered throughout, but this would kind of keep them organized in one place. Now, one question I have, and I would love to get some feedback from people on the call. One, do you think a channel meeting would be useful for you and your agency and your department? If so, how could you imagine using it? Where do you think it might be useful? Maybe a staff check-in for meetings, emergency coordination, maybe for design, development, project review meetings, a daily scrum, a hackathon, others. I know during COVID, some folks were using the channel meeting to kind of have an open office hours where people could just come in and you could just see each other. You're missing that social contact. You just wanted to have one place that you could all come in and come and go. And you kind of had an open meeting running where people could pop in and out and just say hi and check in on people. I'd love it if anyone could pop in some ideas or thoughts they have around where a channel meeting might be useful. And then, you know, as a go-do, I would just encourage you to, you know, identify one scenario where you think doing your meetings in a channel might actually make things much easier for everyone else in the team to find information, to stay up to date, to find those meeting recordings and all that good stuff. So with that, I will pause and see if there's any questions or anything else we want to look at.
Yeah, we did get one feedback that number 3 was a good suggestion. So, but that's great, you know, to kind of get the thinking going around how we can use channel meetings. And I definitely believe it is a product differentiator, something you have available in Teams meeting that is not available in any other tool. So definitely go back and re-review Jeff's presentation. Again, everything that we're doing today is being recorded. So if you want to learn more about channel meetings, definitely review the recording. There's a note here, emergency coordination will suggest adding channel meetings when we update crisis communication plan. It's great.
Great.
Channel meetings, they seem great in daily check-ins. So great feedback. Thank you. Thank you all for the feedback.